Good morning, fam. Welcome to Plantish Live. We are in for a treat today. Chef Sesavec and myself are excited to welcome FarmerJawn. We are going to be bringing Christa Barfield in just a moment as we are getting organized. As you come in, please just tap in and let us know where you are joining us from. Morning. He is coming in and joining us shortly, and we can't wait to get this conversation going. Can you put in the chat if you have a garden, if you keep a garden, if you have a farm, if you've worked on a farm? I've done all of them. So how about you? Let's see. We know we've got him coming in just a moment. We love Instagram for all the technical understanding we have to have. Let's see. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We see you. We will be inviting Christa Barfield, the founder of FarmerJawn, to join us momentarily. And we are going to get this party started. It is what? Tuesday, the 25th, the last Tuesday of February, but not the last celebration of Black History Month, right? We are keeping this party going and excited to have it happening. And talk to me in the chat, fam, who's in here with us. Good morning. Clover Valley Culinary, thank you for your support. There you are.
Yes. Hi, Chef. How's it going?
You know,
Never
it's
a dull
Tuesday
moment, right?
morning. Never a dull moment, not a dull moment. If I have my matcha, I know I'm good to go. We are going to start this party, Chef. I'm so excited. I know we've
Yes.
spoken about it to have Christa Barfield joining us, the founder of FarmerJawn. Whoo, let me keep my head about me. And we see her, so we are going to be bringing her in. And let's see if this is going to rock and roll for us. Thank you for everyone joining in, because we know you could be anywhere this morning or this afternoon, and you are here with us. So we're excited to have you. We're excited to celebrate Christa, because we have not met in person, but that's going to change. And so thrilled that she would take the time out, because she is one busy woman. And we know she'll be joining in just a moment. Let's see what.
Krista?
Can you see me?
Yes, we can see you. How are you?
I'm well. How about you?
Very well. Thank you so much for
Oh,
joining us.
thank you for having me. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hello, Christa.
Hello, hello.
I know we were talking about this for a while, and we are so excited that you've been able to make the time and join us. Bam, welcome. Show some love, show some hearts for Christa Barfield, CEO and founder of FarmerJawn. We know you're busy, Christa, so we're going to jump right into this, if you're okay with that.
Absolutely, yes.
Why don't you start us off? I know, and Chef knows a bit of your history. You were in healthcare, right?
I was. Yeah, I started my career in healthcare. Always had a passion for science, so that's where it led me.
And at what point did you wake up and say, I'm going to start a farm? I'm going to start a 120-acre farm, matter of fact.
You know what? That all happened in its own order. Very different time and space
Okay.
that individual things take place. But I will say, working in healthcare, I truly had just a passion for it, and I loved it, and thought I was going to be a clinician. And because that's I come from a line of clinicians, and I was like, I'm going to be a nurse, and I'm going to be a forensic pathologist, and I just knew. And then I got to like really get into the mix and realize that I am a little queasy when it comes to real blood. So that wasn't for me. But healthcare was still always a passion. So I began to learn the other side of healthcare, which makes everything run, and the backside. So administration. I ran practices throughout the region for about 10 years, and then January 2nd, 2018, I walked into work. I read an email from my boss, and that was the day I knew that I was no longer going to be on that side of healthcare.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. But did you take a trip to the Caribbean? Did that have anything also to do with your journey?
Yeah. So the whole the transition, January 2nd, 2018, I resigned from my job, gave them 3 weeks. So January 21st was actually my last day of work. And January 22nd, I was on a plane to Martinique by myself. My very first time out of the country. So first passport stamp. And I chose Martinique because it is a francophone country. I grew up speaking French, started learning it when I was 8, and then never used it again from like 8 to all the way through college, and then never used the language. So I was like,
Wow.
I want to get back in touch with that side of me. It's something I always loved. And I got to see Black people that spoke French farming. And I came home and I was like, okay, I'm going to be a farmer.
So there's nothing like your manifestation. So you said, okay, I'm going to be a farmer. And then how did you, I'm so inquisitive about this. How did you then take the steps to make it happen to where you are
You
today?
Honestly, what the very first step when I came home, and I was only on that island for 5 days, so I made a very quick decision. That I was just so inspired by the people at the Coco Petitier. I loved them, and I was like, "You are amazing," and I'm gonna go see what I can do to make this happen in my own neck of the woods. And when I got home, I started to research farms that were around me. And I'm from Germantown, and I see the concierge kitchen Philly in this joint. Shout out to Philly. Yeah, I'm from Germantown section of Philadelphia. So when I, started to research what was near me as far as farms, I found a farm that was a CSA farm, community supported agriculture farm, literally 10 minutes from where I grew up. And
Mm.
so I was like, okay, I never knew that these farms really existed and what they existed to do, which they were growing food for the community. They had members of their farm, and I never understood that concept prior. And I consider myself a pretty educated, well-educated person. And so I recognize that is the reason why I didn't know about it, is because we are not their target market.
Mm.
And so then that's when it opened up. I'm like, okay, Krista, you don't have a job. You see a hole in the market. You have a little bit of sales and marketing background as well. So, like, let's see what we can do with this agriculture piece. And I remember saying, like, okay, farms go wrong. How? That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to see, where do farms typically go wrong. So I ran a whole analysis. And this is my business mind taking over and saying, like, okay, what do we do so we don't fall into the same errors of most other farms when they're starting out. So I kind of reverse engineered my way into to where we are now.
Wow.
I love that. I love that. So CSA, break that down, because I subscribed to CSAs when I was in LA. I'm in Northern California now. You have Farmer John's Corner. Can you break down for the people that may not know? We're all educated, but like you said, if it's not in our path of
Yeah.
awareness, what does FarmerJawn CSA look like? And how does it work for someone that's listening in or might listen to the replay in your area that would like to subscribe?
Yeah, so CSA is community supported agriculture, and it has the history of it is there. It's a way for farmers to be able to have consumers that are literally community members,
Right.
and direct to them. So literally, people can get their food from farm directly to their home, and it gives them that relationship with their farmer. And that's the most important part, is knowing who your farmer is and understanding the way that they grow, being able to walk the land, that those aspects of it, which most people don't have that connection to their food on a day-to-day basis, essentially when you're buying it from the grocery store. So so a CSA is just that. It allows you to become a member of a farm in your community, and it helps to bring back that little iota of like that village lifestyle that I think that many of us seek and would love to get back to, where we all have what we're good at and we contribute to each other. But this is just our way of doing that. And so essentially, our members are paying up front for their fruits and vegetables that they're going to end up getting later in the year. So throughout the winter, farmers don't have a lot of cash flow happening. So it also is an aid to that farmer. So it's super beneficial, mutually beneficial for people to understand where their food is coming from and be able to understand that nutrition density is much higher, healthier food. And at the same time, the farmer has the finances to be able to produce that food and hire their staff and pay them well and all those things.
That makes so much sense. And I think another thing I found was oftentimes I would get a CSA box and maybe I wasn't familiar with a certain produce, a vegetable or a fruit. So that gave me the opportunity to actually go out of my comfort zone and something that maybe I didn't even see in my local store or I would pass by to try it out and really further expand our, I'm going to say, portfolio of things that we can eat. Because as a plant-based Chef Sesabek and I, Chef Sesabek, vegan since birth, a lot of people think, oh, eating more plants must be so boring.
Oh, it's
And
the
that
best.
is so far from the truth, right?
Oh, so far. I
Absolutely.
mean, there's so many colors, and like plants are always being introduced. New crops are being introduced constantly.
Yes,
And like some people don't even know, like broccoli didn't even get to America until the 1920s and really in circulation until the 30s. It started on the West Coast where you are, Chef, and then
yes.
ended up over here much later on the East Coast where I am later in decades. So there's stories that go with foods. There's a whole trajectory to how something was once a seed and then ends up on your plate no matter where you are in the world. And that's beautiful. Like I love the storytelling of crops. And so when you say vegetables, I mean it runs the gamut of how many crops we're able to grow. At one point we were growing 120 different varieties of crops. Really just trialing and doing research and figuring out what we could do the best, and before we made our list more precise. But yeah, absolutely love vegetables.
What are you growing right now? Whet our appetite. Like, I love to hear about food, and I'm like, in my head, I'm sure Chef Sesabek and I have talked about it, but what are you growing right now, and why in this season?
Yeah, so I'll tell you, this is February, so this is winter. We are not on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Yes, it is still cold here, but we have started to prepare. Our first harvest will be closer to April
Okay.
for when we actually start to pull things out of the ground. But we've done a lot of prep work over the winter and even in last fall. Garlic is a 9 month crop. It has that long of a period that it's in the ground, and so we get that in the ground at the end of fall before winter last year. And so there's going to be I forget what the number we said exactly, but we have so much garlic. Like hundreds of thousands of bulbs were planted, and so there's just so much garlic that's going to be coming out of the ground. And so I'm really looking forward to that harvest. And that won't be until July. So June we'll get garlic scapes, which I love. Make a great pesto with those. And then we have begun in our greenhouse, really getting started with seeding so many other different crops that we have coming out, starting in April. Because our store opens in April, one of them, and our next one opens in June. So really getting prepped and prepared for this season. So much to do and so much has been done.
I love that. I know you have, and it's so important. You have such an emphasis on educating, like you've just done for us. I have such a different respect for garlic. That's like
Ah,
birthing a baby. 9 months,
truly,
bam.
truly.
Every time you pick up garlic, whether it's from FarmerJawn or at your local farmer's market, or you go in your local store, you have to have a different respect for that garlic and how long it took to get in your hand. 9 months just with, what Christa shared with us. So I think that's the beauty. Tell us about how you've been really impactful, because I know a lot of things and we'll get to that point, but how you've really been impactful with educating people, especially those that have been underserved. And we all have those areas in our community. And I think all of us here are eager to work in that even more. How does that change the trajectory for how someone views food and understanding the importance in food and eating food to live for, not to die for?
Yeah, honestly. putting your hands in soil is its own education all by itself, and that's what we really seek to do, is to get people on the land and being able to understand how things work at the soil level first and foremost, because
Yeah,
healthy soil is actually how you get to the healthy food part.
for
You can't do one
sure.
without the other, and our food nationwide is just not grown that way. There is not a focus on soil and the microbe level and all of that. Nutrient density can't happen unless we work on soil first. So really, we really have a huge emphasis on that. We farm regeneratively, we farm organically, and what that means is that we're doing so without chemicals. Everything we do is without chemicals. So yes, it adds a extra layer of difficulty, but at the same time, that is perfect. I'm fine with that. I am perfectly fine with that, because the land will start to work with us, not against us.
Yeah.
That's
And
right.
so, people really, when we look at weeds, weeds are a gift. And when we look at the weeds that are coming up out of the ground, they truly are a gift. And my team has learned to master the manipulation of chopping and dropping, where you're actually taking taking those crops that look like and appear to be weeds, and for most of them, we're able to just lay them directly back onto the soil to provide a cover, which helps shield the soil from additional light, which will help weed seeds that we don't want to grow, not germinate. So there's a whole process in
Mm.
this where we really can start taking care of the planet a lot better.
Yeah, yeah.
And the education piece, really, once I get somebody to just put their hands in soil and spend a day, breaking a sweat, they automatically leave with that appreciation. So there's different levels, really, where we have volunteers that come maybe on a one-off basis, but we have people that come regularly as well. And then, we're really working to get our education programs really fine-tuned so that we can have that consistency. And adults is really where I focused a lot of my attention when I was thinking about education. I want to focus on
Mm.
adults. But adults are busy, but everybody has this interest in wanting to get things done. Adults are busy, and I've had the honor to work with so many people who have taken time to come and be a part of programs that we offered, whether it for a few weeks or a few months, and come consistently to learn. And I'm excited to see that continue to expand.
I love that. Chef, I want to give Krista a break because she's dropping so many gems. Do you see questions? I know there's questions coming. I just want to catch up because if someone has to leave, we can get that answered. Fam, we always repost the replay. So if you're here, don't worry if you came in late or you got to go. We are going to get that up after we finish this session. It takes a little while, but if you know us, you know we get it up. We are just celebrating and thankful to have Christa Barfield here with us today, the CEO and founder of FarmerJawn out of Philly. Yes, we're growing in Philly. We are growing and breaking ground in Philly. If you know about plants, you know they will come through cement. They are going to get where they need to get. Chef, what questions do you see that we should get answered?
Absolutely. First, I just want to say, Krista, you have dropped so many gems, and I'm over here taking mental notes. And yeah, you're doing some amazing work. I can't wait to just
Yes.
learn more about what you're doing. And yeah, we have some questions here from Pseuticals. Krista would you be interested in culinary medicine workshops at your farm? I think it would be so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so food is medicine. That's what we know, right? And we
Mhm.
need
Right.
to stop only saying it and give people applicable ways to make it real in their life. So I absolutely am down for that, for sure.
Okay. Okay. And this one's coming from the Concierge Kitchen. What's your favorite fruit to grow and why?
Oh, fruit. So I would say tomatoes, to be quite honest. A lot of people don't recognize that tomatoes are fruit, but most of the crops that have a seed inside of them are actually fruits. And so yeah, I love growing tomatoes, because the other sad thing about it is when I travel or if I go to have tomatoes out in a place that doesn't carry my tomatoes, they just don't taste. They don't taste. They don't taste the same. There are certainly places where you can taste that the flavor is what it's supposed to be. And so yeah, I would say tomatoes are my favorite because most of the time they are tasteless.
Yes, absolutely. I can agree with that 110%. I'm from the South, so we'll get a tomato, sprinkle a little salt on it, and that's a little snack right there.
It's a snack. Yeah, my family's from North Carolina. I grew up in Pennsylvania. However, I spent every summer of my childhood in North Carolina. I got shipped
What?
off for the whole summer. So, yes.
Oh, that's beautiful. What part?
Rocky Mount, North Carolina.
Oh, nice, nice. Okay, I have some family up there. Next question from Tinder Goddess. I'm a chef and I've been thinking about getting a CSA to fill my community fridge. Do you have a program like this? Thanks for being here, gang.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, so we do. You know, we are also willing to work directly with you because what I realize about community fridges is that it's so important that we're putting culturally relevant foods in those fridges. So depending
Mm.
on where they are, we can come up with a plan to make sure your CSA for your fridge makes sense for the people we're serving. So I'd love to help with that. Or if we're not in your area, help direct you to another farm that potentially could assist with that where you are.
Beautiful. Awesome. Yeah, I think that's all of the questions so far. We're just getting a lot of love. Thank you. The snack, such a huge difference. Yes, love your work, Krista from Cooler Foods. Yes, yes, yes. All right, we're caught up.
I
Awesome.
love
Slide
it.
back in.
We have so many, we get love. Our community is full of love. They come knowing there's so much expertise here in our community. And I love Krista. Again, thank you. And we're celebrating you for taking the time. Tell us a little bit about why people should want to. I know you touched on it. Why should everybody have a farmer? Like people will say, oh, when I get a lot of money, I'm going to get a
Oh,
chef. But I think people should also be considering, I need a farmer and then
yeah.
I'll get the chef.
Honestly, that's the real flex. Like you find somebody who knows how to grow food. That's in your repertoire, like that, like that to me is the real flex. And I think I'm doing the best that I can to really push that out into the ethos that people can understand that knowing your farmer is just as important as knowing who your doctor is.
Yes.
Yes.
And even more so, honestly, because a lot of ailments that we suffer with today, especially in America, are because of our food system. And so, therefore, we need to reverse engineer. You know, I talk a lot about lineage and like, how do we even get to this state? Why are we unhealthy? Why are Black people the most unhealthiest people on the planet, scientifically proven? So, how do we get that fixed? Is that it all? We think about what happened before. How do we even get here? And so, if we understand what happened before us, that means that right now we have the power to make the change for the generations that's going to come after us. But everything is hereditary. It just ends up being that is the case. So how about we start changing the way that we eat in order to make that change for our future lineage, the people that are going to proceed after us. So that's major, major.
That is. Thank you. Thank you. Tender Goddess, we see you. Thank you so much. You're saying I'm in East Parkside. My partner was handing out hoagies in Kensington yesterday. This is our mission. I appreciate all three of you. We appreciate you for being here. We appreciate what you and your husband are doing. So thank you again for being in here and sharing the love. Fam, tap in with those that are in the comments. And this is where we connect. It's all about community, right? So we have people dropping in, grab them, follow them, check out their profiles. We appreciate you all. Krista, talk a little bit about, because I've read some articles, I've watched some videos of yours, and while you have a 120-acre growing farm, I know you also advocate for people not to wait to get to a farm that large. So what are things that we each can individually do that maybe we can grow just one thing? Maybe we can grow herbs in our kitchen. How do you advocate, or how do you direct us and guide each of us to do that? So when we walk away, you've given us a call to
Yeah.
action that you are going to come back and say, okay, what'd you grow, Nina?
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. The biggest thing is that everybody's not meant to be a farmer. That's first and foremost. Farming is very time consuming, and so it's recognizing your capacity. And also that's not just your time, but that's also your land. You may or may not have access to land. So I think it becomes bigger. Is that what you can do is really look at what you always are buying, what's regularly on your shopping list. And a lot of people I've seen that typically most people are buying green onions or scallions. That's something that people tend to like to buy quite often for their meals. And those are one of the easiest things that you can regrow over and over again on the windowsill in your home. So regardless if you have land or not, or if you're just, dipping your toe in, trying to get familiar with the process of growing, I would say start with scallions. But also outside of just that, maybe that's not a crop that you love. Look at what you are buying on a regular basis, and let's make a plan for you to replace one item, just one, with something that
Yes.
you can grow yourself. So that may be herbs. That could be tomatoes. That could be the small cherry tomatoes. And there are various ways that you can accomplish this. I am a soil farmer, so I love growing in the ground, but I also recognize that we are urbanites and that's not always possible. So really it's just about you having some control and understanding at the scientific level just the basis of how things grow. There's seeds, there's water, there's light needed, and some basic care. And so you don't want to make this too complicated for folks because you don't want them to feel daunted by the process. So that's the way that I say to really simplify it. And then we have all these, AI tools and things that can help you understand how to grow. So even if you don't have a direct relationship with the farmer right now, work on that. You can use Chat GPT for that too. Find you one.
Yes.
And if you are interested in a black farmer specifically, go ahead to Black Farmers Index. She got them all. They everywhere. They all over the place. And just really get tapped in. But what you want to know is how can I grow this one item myself? This is how much sunlight I have. This is what I have access to land wise, window wise, and really just create yourself a simple process.
That's so beautiful. I work with the Blue Zones, and they are over 20 years have studied the longest lived people, and they've identified 5 zones around the world from Japan to Italy to one zone in Loma Linda, California, the Seventh-day Adventists that I've worked with in their healthcare operation. But one thing, and there are others, but one thing is that they've done studies to show that people that keep a garden, that tend to something, have a capacity because they have a purpose to have more longevity. So something as simple as growing scallions on your windowsill in your kitchen, it may not give you 7 more years, but it's giving us a purpose. And that is something that longevity, from having a sense of purpose, having faith, your right tribe, plant slant, movement. We didn't say exercise. We said move, dance like nobody's watching
Yeah.
you. If that's what you can do, we can take control of every situation we're in, wherever we're at. And Christa, Chef Sesabek, many of you in the comments, we know this. And this is the word we want to spread. You don't have to wait. You can start right now wherever you're at. So Christa, I want to say, I know that you recently won the James Beard Leadership Award. Congratulations. That's a huge accomplishment. How did you feel in the moment when you won it? And how has it impacted possibly your mission to go further? Because I'm familiar with James Beard, and, I love it, a farmer to be winning an award like this, that's a culinary, entity, like being asked to come to Carnegie Hall for a singer. I've cooked at the James Beard Foundation House twice. So that is such a huge honor. And I want to celebrate you, fam. If you can send flowers and hearts in the comments, it's huge. But how has it, in that moment when you heard your name, how did you feel?
Yeah, so for the leadership awards and the impact awards, you tend to you find out a couple months before you actually go, and so slightly different than the restaurant chef awards.
Yeah.
And so you know when you get to Chicago that this is happening, but prior, when I first got the call from my publicist, I was literally having a meeting with my director of agriculture. It was just me and him. We were doing our thing, and I just was like really shocked. And I remember like being close to tears, but like almost like like right there. And I was just like, oh my goodness, like this is happening because I actually spoke it into existence before. Like I had said it a year or two prior to that, saying like this makes sense. And if we really want people to understand what it is that we're doing, but how we're doing it, so that we can continue to be a see it be it. That's what it is. We don't want to be continue, we're the first to do a lot of things. We're following other people's footsteps, and in order to keep momentum going, people have to see you doing things and being good at them. And so that is really what was happening in my mind. And so when you say like what has happened next and following through, I remember saying this while I was at the awards. The battery was already in our bag. What we have to do is still been what we had to do prior to the award and after. So what I am happy about is that for that credibility is what it's doing. It's giving us an additional layer of credibility for other people to be able to recognize that what we're doing is important and has legs and is sustainable, because we're not building this not to be profitable. That's what it's all about. And that's one thing I did say on the red carpet, is that you cannot be sustainable unless you're profitable. This can't be those two words have to go one and the same. And that's what I'm building, so that I can continue to take care of the people that I've employed, and so that I can continue to take care of the soil that I've been transitioning now over 128 acres, and growing and still growing, and so that I can continue to take care of all the people that look at us and are inspired by us, because that is my responsibility that I'm so happy to have.
Yes, I love the culinary industry. I love agriculture because it's all about serving. I love the healthcare. It's all about serving. And I think, that's the point. We have to remember each of us have been given a gift. And my whole thing is I'm using all the gifts, because I'm not getting in front of my maker and being asked if I used all my gifts and not being able to say yes. So with that, Chef, let's take it away. You have some questions for Christa.
Absolutely. Yes, yes. So we're going into the quick fire. You can answer these questions within 30 seconds or less, however you feel called to do so. So the first question I have for you is, if you could farm anywhere in the world besides Philly, where would it be and why?
Oh, quick, quick, quick. So I would say France. And I would say that because, probably because I just got back from there. I was there last week, so I feel all inspired and stuff. But I was with a friend who has some land in Normandy, and there's a great community of people who are looking, forward to being more connected to their food system, and that's another place outside of just in America in general, because I feel like we're covering that, and we're expanding and looking at other possibilities to help people convert their land here. But I would say in other countries as well. I love a francophone country. I really do. So Martinique would be another place that I would love to return to.
Mm. All right, we're planting more seeds because you planted those seeds for, the transition and where you are right now. So who knows what could happen in the next couple years. For sure. The next question I have for you is your morning routine. How important is self-care? Like, what take us through your
Oh,
morning?
I'm working on that. So I will tell you that I'm gonna be honest. My team and I just held interviews for my executive operations coordinator, which is actually will be my assistant. Like, my right side of my body is what I pretty much told all of them, is that they'll become one with me. So my morning routine right now is that I check in with our greenhouse manager, who will transition back to that as soon as I find my person. But love Sarah, and right now her and I meet in the mornings every single day. I wake up pretty early, about 5 a.m.
Mm,
And I am working on getting into a routine of not going straight to work. But that's how my mind works. It's like, all right, work. It's time to work. I will say that, as I am a Muslim woman and Ramadan is coming, and so I'm very much so looking forward to that, because that is going to allow me to be still, and really focus in my mornings on just reverence and being mindful of, being in my body instead of just working. So there's a
mm.
mix, but you ask me that question in a month, and I might have a different answer.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, it's beautiful that you're planting the seeds for change right now as we move into the spring. So, yeah, kudos to you for sure. Next question. What is one book or documentary that has really influenced your journey as a farmer?
Oh, as a farmer, okay, so that's slightly different. I will say, mm, 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 mm. Oh, there's so many. Let me see. Just name one, Krista. The
Or
um,
two.
or two. I'm just trying to think because oh man, see, I'm terrible with names, but I'm like looking at them, and it's one that I have begun to read. Come back to that one. Skip, 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 skip.
Okay, we'll skip that one. We'll come back to it. And the last question I have for you is, how do you stay inspired?
Oh yes. So in winter is actually my time to travel. So this is a couple things. As the season
Okay.
starts to wind down, last year was my first year at the end of that season where I took my entire management team away and we went to Maine and we went to go visit other people's farms, went to connect with other organizations that are in agriculture, environmental sustainability, all of that. And we got to just got to like really connect with each other after a long hard season, and so that is super inspiring to me because that's what we talk about, like what are we doing next year, how are we coming back better than we were before. And then after that, I travel in the winter, so most of the time I'm gone pretty much between 10 to 15 days each month in the winter time. And so I was in Mexico in January. Last this month I was in Italy and France, and next month I'll be all over the states, coming into March, starting March 1st. So I love to travel to see what other people are doing, and I'm inspired by them, but I'm inspired by people being inspired by what I do as well. So there's a nice healthy balance and mixture, where I get to educate and I get to learn from the same people. And that's the beautiful thing, is that we all have so much to offer to each other, while we also have so much to receive from each other. And I love when that happens at the same time.
Absolutely. Wow. Oof. I'm gonna have to go back and watch this session like twice because you dropped so many gems, and I'm just soaking them all in. One thing that you said about, just taking the winter months and just taking the time to analyze and plan so that you can go further the next year is
Yeah.
so important. And I actually observe the winter solstice myself, and I take the last 2 months of every year and I unplug. I go away, I'm meditating, I'm doing breath work, I'm fasting, and just making the intentions for the new year. So I think it's beautiful that you do that with your team. That's
Yeah,
beautiful.
thank you for that. Thanks for saying that, because that also just put it into, one punch for me. It's like that's what farmers do. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? That's what farmers do. So if people can take anything away from the lifestyle of a farmer,
Mhm.
it's very much so that. It's like looking over the previous year and making plans, planting seeds for your future. So yeah, thank you.
Indeed, of course. Yeah, I love it. Because everything in life is just subject to cycles. You can't grow certain crops at certain times of the year. So same thing with like, our energy levels. So it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing and dropping these
My
gems.
pleasure.
Yeah.
It's been such a pleasure. So many gems. Fam, if you're with us in the comments, just drop a takeaway you've received. Just one, because I know you're probably flooded, but just that one you drop, that's the one you want to take action on within the next 24 hours. Because so many times we take copious notes, we have all these mind notes, and then we leave and we step off of this, we step out of this live and we get back to life, as Krista was saying. And then we're like, oh, what was that thought? So drop it in the comments, one takeaway, just one. And Krista, what we'll do is we'll get 3 of the titles you recommend. And then when we put up the replay, we'll put that in the comment and pin it.
Oh, that's
So
perfect.
those also that, didn't come live with us, we can continue this. I never think of a live as, oh, it's over, go back to life, good luck, we'll see you next time. That's not how we roll here. It should be a continuum of things that we are doing to progress. And we don't have to wait till we're in a room together with each other. We can be global. That's the wonderful thing about the internet. We can support each other. And that is what Plantish Live is all about. Krista, I would like you to send us out into our brilliance with just whatever's on your heart that you want to share with people that are going to hear this, and we spread it far and wide, that you think people need to think about to center and really realize in this climate, in the life we're in, we can continue to grow and achieve. You are a manifester. That is proof. You've shown us. You show us your actions. You say something, see it, do it, get it done, and you make it happen. And more of us need to have that confidence. So leave us with something. And when you finish, please let us know the best place to follow you, reach out to you, etc. And we'll put all that in the replay again also.
Beautiful. Yeah, I think the biggest thing is knowing where your food comes from. And for folks who are on this live or will listen to this live that have interest in actually becoming a farmer and that believe that that is what they are called to do but don't know what their next steps are, no matter where you are, this is about sacrifice. It really is. Farming is sacrifice. I always say that I am in service to soil is really what this career has become for me. And what I have to offer to help make that a reality for those who are ready and serious is land. I have access to land that I have been trying to figure out the best way to be able to get people to feel like they can be a farmer. You don't have the space, you can start small, just like our amazing outreach and agritourism director Honey Bee Fly is there saying, we actually do have space for you to help with that where we are in southeastern Pennsylvania. However, if you're not ready to take that next step, completely understand. We still want you to know that you can do the small things in your own home. But we are looking for farmers. We want to be able to give the opportunities and the resources that we have, all the connections that we have directly to you and get your farm started. So if for those of you who are ready for this next season of your life, figuratively and literally, please reach out to FarmerJawn because we want to talk to you.
Beautiful.
I love that. Thank you. Some people have dropped their takeaway. So CeeLo Greens, planting seeds for the future, taking my RD exam soon. Congratulations. And hoping to plant many seeds for my future. We love that. We send you love and we know you're going to do well in your exam. And then honeybee fly, I think that's right. Even if you don't have space or a farm, start small. Perhaps with one of your favorite vegetables or herbs on your windowsill. Okay, there were some takeaways. I saw one up earlier that said, grow what you love to eat. Yes, it makes sense. We've got people coming in. We are going to put up the replay once it repopulates. Christa, we love you. We celebrate you. We send you your flowers virtually. I am going to put it out there that Chef Sesavec and I are going to physically meet you. We're going to have a farm dinner
It's
and
happening.
cook your produce at FarmerJawn. So all listening can hold us accountable for making that happen because we're also manifestors. And please do not suppress your dreams. Let your dreams be as bold and wild and scary. If they're not scary, they're not big enough, guys. We have to do this. So let's remember, tap in if you haven't yet with FarmerJawn on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, and make sure you check out farmerjawn.co, farmerjawn.co, the website. Peruse it, check it out, stay in touch, make a point before 24 hours is up to do something with one tip, one takeaway that you took away from FarmerJawn's and Christa Barfield taking the time to come and speak with us, pour into us, give us gems to grow, and get your hands dirty. Don't be afraid. Go buy some soil. Start playing with it. All right, Chef, want to send us off with what you're feeling? Because I've got a lot going on in my head, obviously.
Yes, so many takeaways, but the main one for me is that if you can hold it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand, definitely connecting with Earth, because when we connect with Earth, our we're limitless. I'll say that. So yeah, Krista, thank you so much for meeting with us today and sharing your gems.
Yes,
Till
I'll
next
see
week.
y'all in Philadelphia. I'll see y'all when y'all get here. Honey Bee
Yes,
Fly is our agritourism coordinator, so we gonna make that happen.
I
Oh,
love it.
absolutely.
I
Well,
love it. All
yes.
right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Krista, for your time. Fam, thank you for tapping in. Fam that's going to watch the replay, it will be up soon. Please leave comments. Please voice. Community and engaging is what makes the difference, especially if you've had some fear about wanting to be bad, bold, and bodacious. You can do it. We're going to say goodbye and we'll see you next week, but we'll put up the replay and let's just keep this conversation going. Christa, wishing you a brilliant, phenomenal day.
Yeah,
And we thank you and we look forward to having you back. Maybe we'll just do a live when we get to Philly. I
okay.
think that's it, right, Chef?
Okay, we'll make it happen. Inshallah. Thank
All
y'all.
right, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Peace and love.